Hi everyone, welcome. I'm really excited to be here with the amazing Katerina. Kat and I actually have known each other for, I don't know, like over 10 years, I
Oh,
reckon. It's
I
really
know.
so
Yes, we worked together in the corporate world, didn't we? And
we
you were actually my team leader.
I was. So yeah, so we've known each other for a very, very long time. And, we've recently reconnected again because we're both on a very similar journey. And that's really what we want to have a chat together with and just sort of, I guess, share our insights and our wisdom with everybody and just sort of create sort of like a sacred space, I guess, for people to know that it's okay to evolve and to, really stand out and shine and not be afraid of that.
Yes, it's very important now, Christine, that we do that, and that all those in the industry, especially who are healers and teachers and way showers and so on, it's really important that we find the courage and we find the determination to speak our truth, no matter what anybody else thinks, because I just feel it's really important. The world needs us now, and the world needs for people to, wake up, as I call it, and learn more about themselves and feel that they're part of a global community and not isolated anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, sometimes we all go through different challenges and,
Yeah.
experience in life, and that can always lead us to, different paths and that as well. But what I found is that when I got more in touch with who I am, that I sort of sometimes got a little bit too scared as well, because I'm like going, oh, did I really say that? Did I really do that? Like, oh my goodness, like all these different things are happening. But
Yeah.
actually feels really good and sort of liberating in a way to be able to step up and to sort of go, you know what, this is me. And if you want to be part of me and be part of my world and be part of, my life, that, we just truly accept who we are. And
Yeah.
I think sometimes also that when we're going through a growth is that we accept people for who they are, and sometimes we don't realize that other people have that capacity, do you know what I mean, to do that as well.
Well, it's all about self-awareness, and each time you unravel a part of you, and what I mean is looking at the things that don't work and having the courage to let them go, because it does take courage from a human perspective. It does take courage, as you know. And gosh, Christine, it took me 23 years to feel safe in speaking my truth. And today, the way I feel is, I always say, if you resonate with me, wonderful. If you don't, move along. I mean, there are many other people in the world that you would resonate with. And I think that's the outlook that has given me strength and, courage to speak up, because I've come from being very shy and very withdrawn and not having the courage to speak my truth, because I always was worried about what other people thought. So now I can I can say that I do care what other people think, but I don't take it personally anymore. And that's the journey, isn't it? It's all about being able to stand up and say, well, I'm Katerina. I speak my truth. And my truth is that my journey is very real. And if you wish to listen to it and learn from me, then all by means, reach out, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was reading, and I'm, probably going to get it a little bit incorrect, but I was reading in a wonderful book by Brene Brown, and the part that she talks about is that sometimes we actually need to go into the wild to actually find our own tribe. And I think there is a tribe and there's a community out there for every single person, no matter, you know, what your interest is or what your hobby is and all that is. That sometimes you've just got to find that and not be afraid to sort of step away from one particular sort of tribe or group to be able to really find the people that are going to resonate with you and, you know, really connect and, you know, share the same passions, share the same interests and that with you as well.
Yes. What I found, Christine, is that when I became very comfortable with my own ideas and my own passion, my tribe was magnetized to me. Do you know what I mean? The people
Yes.
will, your energy, what you're doing is you're clearing your energy of those that don't resonate, but then suddenly you're magnetizing those who do. And, you know, recently I found my tribe who just get me, and that brings out more of my confidence and more of my understanding. Yes, so I'm very much into the unraveling and the shadow self, because that's how we bring more light into the world and into ourselves, so we can go deeper and because we connect with other people that resonate, we can move away from feeling alone and isolated and being fearful of who we are, because the fear of who we are is what limits us, not what goes on outside of you. So, yeah.
And that fear sometimes, what I have found, especially in my own personal journey, is the fear is actually just that mean girl voice inside my head, is just all the negative stuff that I actually think about myself, and I'm projecting that onto other people. Whereas if I, you know, once I've learned to really love and accept and really like who I am, that people just sort of, you know, that there is actually not that judgment. There is actually not that, you know, thoughts, because it actually was just all my thought process going on. And it's all those fears and insecurities that kept coming up that I needed to get past and I needed to heal. And I really liked what you said, you know, that once you sort of cleared out, you know, all, I guess that, you know, I call it the toxic energy vampires. And, you know, they're the people that sort of suck the energy out of you. And once you clear those people out of your life, it allows you to bring in more people that really accept you and love you for just who you are. It's sort of like spring cleaning your house in a way, you know, like if you want to go out and buy a new, you know, a new piece of furniture, you've got to make room for it. So
yes, and you've got to clean out. I use that analogy with my clients. I always say, you are the house, and now I'm entering your house, and I have angelic cleaners, I call them, and Christine, they do look like cleaners, right? You know, the mop and the broom and all that, and they actually go into your space and we just give it a clean. And it's interesting how, like, your laundry could be filled up with, you know, washing that you haven't done, and that just simply means maybe anxieties that you haven't dealt with, and the room's building up, right? Yes, it's and then you go in the backyard and you start filling that up. And yes, I use the same you know, symbolism, because that's how, because we are our house, right? Everything. Yes, and it's very important to go deeper and deeper. And I can I used to never say the word promise, but I say that now, and I can promise you that when you go deeper and love yourself for all parts of you, you'll become a lot more calmer and at peace, and make decisions based on how, you know, it's going to bring love into your life.
Yeah, absolutely. I use that a lot, and I really love that, because I think that the more you're in tune with yourself, and I talk a lot about having boundaries, but also to having these sort of, you know, non-negotiables in your life. And when you have those, it actually allows you to make decisions a lot easier. And for me, I've known that, you know, if I don't have that trust in them and they don't have the trust in me, or I don't feel that connection with them, I'm not going to work with them, or I'm not going to invite them into my personal space. And before, I used to be, oh, okay, you know, I would share everything and give everything, but you don't actually have to be like that. You can, you know, allow who you want to come into your life. You can allow and choose who you want to work with, because, you know, especially with me, with clients, like, I want to make sure that I can get the best out of them, and, you know, they want to do that. And it's the same with friends as well. You want to be able to have a really loving, secure sort of friendship, and, you know, they've got to have the same sort of goals, and this, not sort of goals, you know, I've lost my train of thought, isn't it bad?
Well,
But
yeah, what I was going to say was, everybody doesn't need to resonate with everybody. What's important is that when you stand in your truth and speak your truth, if you totally believe in that truth, then there's authenticity. So then the energy that you put out, the person will feel that energy first, because that's what we do, right?
Yeah.
So those who are attracted to your energy are simply resonating with their authenticity. So it's like you found your beauty, Christine. So those that look at you will see their own beauty, because you're reflecting that to them. And that's what we do as healers or coaches and you know, stuff like that. We need to clear our own house and our own backyard to be able to reflect the beauty in the other person. So
true.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a big, you know, I love sharing, like, my story with women, and so that they can sort of, you know, I guess, see the journey and to feel that they're not alone. Because sometimes I feel that there's so much sort of stigma attached to going through, you know, difficult times, and we need to actually just sort of, you know, get rid of all of that stigma that's associated with it, and just allow people to know that it's life. And I say it's like a roller coaster. You have ups and downs and twists and turns, and sometimes you actually have to go backwards to be able to even, you know, get off the ride. But, you know, when we share stuff, and we are then, you know, we connect with other people, and then they sort of start to break down their own walls and sort of start to open up a little bit more, and just feel, you know, a little bit of safe and security around them as well. And I know you're very similar as that, like, you know, sharing your story, and, you know, as you said, you know, it's taking you 20 something years, like, to get to where you are, and to let people know that sometimes there's not a magic pill. There's, you know, there's not a quick fix, you know, with it. It is just a learning journey and process that we all need to go through.
I'm very much the one that will say to you, I don't have a magic pill, because you are the magician of your life. But people need to understand that there's a huge misconception out there that, you know, 1 or 2 sessions will heal them, and it's not true. I mean, what I'm finding right now is, yes, I tell people my journey, but what I'm doing now is showing them and talking about how I got out of it, because we all have our journeys, right? And we all have our story about, you know, being in the dark, or having a really difficult life, and having abuse and all that, because most of us have. Most of us, like 90% of us, have had that trauma, or that abuse, or the, you know, the man that rapes you, or the women that abuse you. Like, you know, the journeys can be so horrendous that it takes a long time to even want to come out.
Yeah, you know, and just to feel safe and supported. You know, I feel that there has been a big shift in the world, where people are now speaking up, and actually not, you know, I guess, being more in the leader side of things, and actually taking a stance and actually sharing it. You know, an amazing friend of mine is sharing her infertility story, and, you know, a few years ago that was so taboo that you couldn't actually do that. And I think the more we stand up, the more we share our stories. And you're so right, you know, actually showing people how to do it. An amazing coach that I worked with, and he described it that you know, the story goes that you can teach a man to fish so he can feed for life. But we should all go that one step further, and that is actually teaching a man how to teach others to fish. So the ripple effect within the community is immense. And that's what I'm all about, is that, you know, I'm not just showing you how to, you know, reclaim your life and to make it better, but I want to teach you in a way that you can go and teach your friends and your family, you know, your kids as well, and create this beautiful ripple effect. Because, you know, there is no point just showing one person and keeping all your secrets and that to yourself. We should all be sharing and not be afraid to let go of what we know and hold on to our knowledge and our power as much as what we, you know, used to do.
Totally agree. I'm when I have a client, I'm the same. I am helping them. I give them a safe place to rediscover what they already know, and if any fears come up, they have a safe place to explore it and let it go, because it is important to acknowledge all parts of ourselves, even the ugly parts of ourselves. Yes, so those who come onto my program actually get taught how to do it so they can go and do it for someone else. And so in the meantime, however, they they rediscover themselves. Then they go home and they think about it. And then what I promote is putting it in action more than saying, oh, this is what I do and this is how I'm doing it, to actually put it into action. Because then people will go, wow, what did you do? Like, can you tell me how you just suddenly got from really feeling shitty to feeling really good, and look at all the opportunities you're getting. So it's finding the authenticity to put it into action, and that's the courage to say yes. Totally agree. We're very much on the same page.
It's so powerful too. I think that the more that we, you know, as you know, we're sort of leaders in, you know, our own fields, but we start to step up and to really, you know, shine more and allowing people, and it's uncovering. You know, what I love to do is like sort of uncovering those little nuggets of gold that is hidden away in people that, you know, we can see, but they know that it's there, but they've maybe pushed it away or not being, you know, having the courage to allow that to shine. But I think that the more that we sort of promote and we can, you know, share stuff with people, it's just going to have this amazing ripple effect around the world, and it's very exciting times for that to happen.
It is. The energies are much more refined. The energies they're more cleaner. Now, I'm an energy worker, so I work with them every day, and let me tell you, the energy is much more thinner per se as being thick. What that means is the flow, there's a better flow in it. So there's a better, imagine that you're a boat in your own little, you know, you're the boat on the river, and the river is flowing more fluidly, more relaxed, more ease and grace.
Yeah.
And it's helping people to understand that they don't need to be limited anymore as a human being. You know, we're part of a bigger picture than most really want to admit or even acknowledge. And at the end of the day, it's all about, I feel, finding your own truth within and having the courage to say, well, this is how I feel. You don't need to believe in me, that's okay, but don't tell me that I'm not worthy of my truth. And that's what I help my clients, or anyone that wants to talk to me about. I help them to know that it's okay to say no. And it's okay to say, well, this is my truth. And if you feel that it isn't your truth, then you have many options to, you know, discover what it is. And people like you and I give you the safe place to, I call it archaeology. So we go deeper and dig deeper and and you know, brush the sand away and find that little treasure box. Yes. And the courage is to open that treasure box because it's the unknown, right?
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it. I think that's beautiful.
It's very exciting.
It is it's very exciting.
Yeah,
the world's changing. The world has changed.
it has. And I think the more that we start sort of, you know, living life on our own terms. And I guess that's one of the big things that I sort of promote as well, is that, you know, obviously, you know, we've both worked in the corporate world, and, you know, I see it that, you know, you go into the corporate world and you sort of have to dress a certain way, you know, you have to talk a certain way and present a certain way. But at the end of the day, it's very hard sometimes to actually switch off and come back to yourself. But imagine if you could actually be yourself, even in, you know, different environments, and really just show up as you. And I think sometimes that, you know, if we can really get back to our true essence, that, and we can then show up no matter what the situation is, no matter what environment that we're put in, we're just being ourselves. And that then means that at the end of the day, you don't have to readjust yourself. You don't have to realign to come back to you at all.
No, I totally agree. And that's why you know, there are people like you and I, because we are showing, I know I'm showing people that you can do that no matter where you go. And it's really important that, because having one coat, like you said, in the corporate, and then going home and being another person, or being another person to a friend, eventually it's all going to get very difficult and challenging, because it won't be authentic. And people are what I call waking up to awareness and a higher awareness to who they are and what they want to be. And, you know, being like that, you will see through the deceit. You will see through the, you know, those who smile at you and pretend. And for those people, unfortunately, it will get much harder for them. So I always encourage people to be, you know, just relax and be yourself. Be you know, be Tom, or be, you know, be who you are, because that's what we come here to do, really, is to shine our light and to help each other create, as you said, a ripple effect where we can bring more balance into the world. And to do that is just to simply be your true self.
Yeah. And it's actually a lot easier, you know, like I feel, you know, when I went through this whole journey and process, that I literally felt like I had this weight lifted off me, because it's not like I wasn't sort of pretending as such, but I talk about masks and labels, and, you know, I mean, we have different terminology, but we're all talking about exactly the same thing. You know, you talk about unraveling and, you know, going back to who you are. But, you know, when you can just wake up every day and be you, it is actually a lot easier. It is just more of a natural flow, and you do it. You know, it's like getting dressed in the morning. You know, like it's who you are. Whereas I felt that when I was in the corporate world as such, you know, I was having to dress a particular way. You know, I didn't talk up in meetings because, you know, I guess a lot of that was also my fear, but also too that the the energy was very masculine energy as well, in the, you know, in that particular corporate arena that we were working in. But, you know, and it was very, very difficult to sort of, you know, speak your truth and to speak your mind and all of that. But I feel now that if I was in that environment, it would be very easy for me to actually go, this is my thought process, and be okay if they don't agree with it, or, you know, they only want to take parts of it, because at least I know I've spoken my truth, and I'm not just saying it because I want to be heard. It's saying because I truly believe in what I'm speaking, and, you know, you do it from the heart. Whereas, and that's one of the biggest things, I think, when you actually get back to your sort of, you know, your authentic self, everything actually comes from the heart. And you do it with that love and that kindness, and very, you know, it's very genuine, and there is nothing fake about it.
No, and people will feel that, and that's the important thing, right? Because as human beings, we're emotional, and that's our uniqueness. Now, I do a lot of work energetically and dimensionally, and we are the only beings that are fully emotional, and that's our uniqueness, to be able to feel the joy of being able to speak how you feel, and know when it's authentic, then you attract the people around you who will back you up and who will support you. And yes, I agree. In the corporate world, I would speak my truth, and I was labelled an aggressor, troublemaker. Yes. And yes, I had a lot, and I had to go through my own fears and my own understanding. But I always thank being there now, because it taught me how to stand up. It taught me how to be brave, because I have to say, the everyday life is how we learn to be brave, because we get put into situations where we have to say, well, no, I don't feel that would be correct. But I've also learned that it's your words and how you say your words. So with my clients, I also show them how to use phrases like, I feel angry today because you're not listening to me, for example. And what that does is it doesn't point the finger, and it doesn't make the other person feel inadequate in any way. It's just simply you speaking your truth. And you'll get so much you'll get a better response from another person.
Yeah.
But as you said, you know, we have our journeys, and I had to learn that. I had to learn to do that by facing what I have.
Yeah. And it's very, I find that, you know, like you said, you know, taking the situations that you've been in, you know, like we use the corporate world, and to really actually appreciate that situation. And I think so many times in all the different things that come our way, whether they're happy times or even sad times or troubled times, that we really need to just sort of actually take and appreciate it, because first of all, we're here. You know, and, you know, I always say, you know, when a bill comes, you know, instead of saying, oh, God damn bills, but, you know, I'm actually appreciative because, you know, I get to have a car, you know, pay rent, like all that sort of stuff, because, you know, it's turning the negative, I guess, into more of a positive, and learning from different experiences as well in life. And, you know, I do actually say that hitting rock bottom was actually the best thing that could have happened to me, is that I actually needed to fall. I needed to, you know, we talked about this the other day, hit the concrete, face plant, you know, like really hit rock bottom. And to do that, it has actually allowed me to embrace so much more. And I don't feel as that I probably would be where I am today without going through all of that. And, you know, we don't have to all have these terrible experiences. You know, it could be, you know, a life-changing thing that could happen. It can be like something that's quite joyous, you know, but it's just actually learning from each individual experience that we have and what are our takeaways from that we can learn from.
Yes, totally agree, because it's how we respond.
Yeah.
If we stay in the victim mode, for example, and feel that we're being victimized all the time, then you're going to attract the people who will victimize you.
Yes.
And that's been like, this sort of process has been a great lesson for me. So if someone who's listening today and is having a difficult moment, just take a big breath and put yourself aside and journal your feeling, or record it or whatever, but know that there is a blessing behind it. And I can promise you that once you do see the blessing in it, you will fill your space with more light, which is just more clarity and understanding, and you will bring in a new person or a new friend who will acknowledge the beauty in you, in whatever form that is. Yeah,
it's really, really true. I call
yeah.
them, get rid of the energy vampires, get rid of them and allows more people in there. But just to sort of take stock of the victim, people playing the victim is about, why is it happening to me? Why me? And let's just look at the situation holistically and look at it from, all the different points of view. And, we have to also remember too, is that we're human beings and we're not perfect. So we all do make mistakes as well. And sometimes that, we may have said something to cause a disruption and that we may need to fix that issue, or, I'm not saying it's always come back that we're doing something wrong, but if we look at it and remove it from just our own perspective and look at it in that holistic sort of approach, that we really can really identify, the good, the bad, and sometimes the ugly of it, and really get a resolution as to, well, I will never do that again. I've learnt from this process, or maybe this is not the right person in my life, or I need to remove myself from this situation altogether.
Yes, because if we don't, then what we do as high selves, or the part of us that already know, that has already done it, will literally grab you by you will literally grab yourself by the hair and you will drag yourself through it. So that means when everything starts to get really difficult, when you feel totally lost or isolated or angry, especially, that's just you not listening to yourself because of fear. So every person on this planet, now this is how I talk, is capable and you already have the tools. You already have the answers. It's really all about finding that safe place to rediscover it, because we can't do these things on our own anymore, where I came from doing it all on my own. So, and you as well, Christine. So what we've done is we've cleared the way for those who are listening today or tomorrow, whichever, and feel that they need assistance. So we've been, so we created ourselves to be the safe place for someone to not do it on their own this time. How wonderful is that, right?
It's an incredible feeling. Like, I literally get goosebumps and that, like, when I know that I can, talk to somebody else and know that you're helping them. And, it doesn't have to be in, even just with my friends, like, they will ring me and they just go, I just need you to, just to listen. And I think sometimes that's the biggest gift that we can all just be present and just listen to somebody. Because when somebody feels that they've been, listened to and I guess heard, that it actually, lessens the degree of what they're going through. And just I think that the safe space that we create also too is just providing that ability for us to listen to people and to really allow them to be heard, and sometimes it's the first time that they've really been heard in a very, very long time.
Yeah, I always encourage my clients to, I always say to them, this place is your place. So if you want to get up and have a cry, that's what you do. If you want to get up and tell the world to rack off just in that moment, just to release the anxiety or the tension, go right ahead.
Yep.
This is your place, right?
Yeah.
Because during my journey, Christine, I had a place like that. I had one person in this whole world who allowed me to go to her place every month for 10 years for me, just to do that, just to unravel, just to speak how I was feeling, walk around her lounge, her kitchen lounge, and just tell the world that I don't like you today and this is why, right? We need to be able to express the shadow part of us, the part of us that does get angry, the part of us that does feel imbalanced, because we, like, as you know, there's, big talk about raising the frequency, raising the energy and doing all that sort of stuff. And it just simply is, how do you do that? It's simply what we've been talking about today, is acknowledging yourself as a magnificent human loving being who has the ability to be more than you know right now.
And it's limitless. The amount, the possibilities are limitless when you take out all those sort of fears and everything like that. Because I would never, a few years ago, not only be doing a call like this with you, or be doing my Facebook lives, because that was my own fear and insecurities, stopping me from doing that. But it sort of is, sometimes you need that slap in your face. Sometimes you need that wake up call. You need, I guess, also somebody there by your side, actually encouraging you and letting you know that it's safe for you to do that. And we're very similar. We may do things a little bit differently in how we do it, but the outcomes that we want, for people that we work with, is exactly the same. It's for them to really be enlightened, for them to really reclaim their lives and to actually just live it on their own terms.
Yes, very important. And that's what and I always talk about, new energies, new shifts, new stuff like that. And that's just simply what that is. It's all about finding the new, the clarity part of you that knows that what you say and feel is your truth. No matter, it doesn't matter if you got 10 people around you and they suddenly say, no, that's not. But if you feel it in here and know that no matter what, it is your truth, and you feel calm and at peace with it, that's very important to know, then it is your truth. If it is slightly distorted, it would just simply present itself as a challenge, or you're not having a great day, or and the other thing I need to say is, if you don't do it, you will bring somebody into your life who will help you do it. And that's when we start to say, that might be where you might become the victim, feel like being the victim, when actually it's because you're not listening to yourself. So you decided to bring somebody in who will just say it to you,
Yes, that's it.
Will just come in and say, just verbalize it and be the challenge. Because you're not listening to yourself, and this is how the world works.
It has been such an amazing time chatting with you, because I feel that we've both gone through difficult times, but the end result is that we are now really empowering people to live their true, the best life, their true authentic self. And I don't think there's anything better than what we do. And
Yes.
I know I get goosebumps and I get really excited when I get to help other people. And I know you're exactly the same. So
Yeah, I'm getting tingles now.
yeah. So thank you
Cool,
so much for
Thank you,
joining me
Katerina.
today. And I really can't wait to share this video out with everybody. And, you know, I know that it's going to resonate with so many different people. So have you got one last sort of piece of advice that you would like to give to people?
Well, just know within your heart that you are able and capable of doing a lot more than you perceive and feel at this moment. I encourage you to find your strength and determination to know that the direction that you are in is how it should be. Change your response and look at yourself and love yourself, and of course, be your true self.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you so much for joining me today, Kat. And yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I can't wait. I'm sure that we'll be talking a lot more as well.
I'm sure. Thanks so much. Thanks for
Thank
those who
you.
watch. Bye.